A 33-year-old mother committed felony identity theft, not for money, but to join the cheerleading squad. In 2008, Wendy Scheidt walked into Kettle Moraine High School in Wisconsin with a forged enrollment form. She was 33 years old. She used her daughter's social security number and birth certificate to get registered as a sophomore. Her goal wasn't money or status, it was to make the cheerleading squad. Scheidt had regretted not cheering in her own high school years, and that ache had festered for decades. Instead of accepting that window had closed, she decided to steal her way back into it. She would attend practices, earn a locker, and finally live the teenage dream she felt she'd been robbed of. What's remarkable isn't that Scheidt got caught, it's how long she didn't. A 33-year-old woman with visible wrinkles and an adult frame showed up to Kettle Moraine High School in Wisconsin claiming to be her teenage daughter, and nobody stopped her for weeks. She didn't just attend class. She went to daily cheerleading practices, sweating through routines alongside actual teenagers. The coach assigned her a locker in the girls' locker room. She was invited to the coach's house for a pool party, a social event where her age difference should have been glaringly obvious. Think about that moment, a 33-year-old woman in a swimsuit surrounded by high school girls and their coach. Yet she was there, participating, fully integrated into the squad. The school's administrative systems processed her enrollment without meaningful verification. No one cross-referenced the birth date against her appearance. No one asked probing questions during registration. The assumption was simple: if someone's paperwork says they're 14, and they're sitting in a high school, then they must be 14. Fraud thrives in this gap between documentation and reality. We trust the paperwork because checking it feels redundant. Scheidt exploited that gap completely. She didn't need sophisticated technology or fake documents, just her daughter's real information and the institutional assumption that people tell the truth. Here's what makes Scheidt's case psychologically fascinating: she wasn't stealing for money or status symbols. She was stealing for something far more powerful, a second chance at adolescence. Psychologists call this the sunk cost fallacy meeting identity desperation. Scheidt had missed cheerleading as a teenager, and that regret didn't fade with age. It metastasized. By her 30s, the ache of that lost dream had become unbearable enough to override her rational judgment about consequences. She looked at her daughter's clean record, her blank slate as a high school student, and saw an opportunity to rewrite her own story. That's the dangerous intersection where fraud becomes psychologically rational to the person committing it. Scheidt wasn't thinking about felony charges or prison time. She was thinking about belonging to a team, wearing a uniform, and finally being chosen. The emotional reward, fitting in, being seen as worthy, achieving something she'd grieved for 20 years, outweighed the legal risk in her mind. This is why identity theft motivated by regret is actually more dangerous than theft motivated by greed. A greedy person calculates profit margins. A desperate person calculates whether their pain is worth the prison sentence. And sometimes, they decide it is. Scheidt's brain had essentially concluded that one semester of cheerleading was worth a felony conviction. The fantasy lasted only a few weeks. Teachers and staff began noticing inconsistencies: her hands looked weathered, her face didn't match the ID photo, and she claimed to be 23 years old while her daughter was actively enrolled at the same school. When administrators finally ran a background check, the entire scheme collapsed. Wendy Scheidt was arrested and charged with identity theft, a felony that carried real prison time. But here's what makes this case devastating: while Scheidt was pursuing her cheerleading dream, her actual daughter was living a nightmare. She had to explain to classmates that her mother had stolen her identity and impersonated her at school. Her senior year, supposedly the best year of high school, became defined by shame and betrayal. Scheidt received probation and counseling, but the damage was irreversible. Her daughter's trust was shattered, and the emotional cost to both of them far exceeded any satisfaction Scheidt could have gotten from a few weeks of practices and a pool party. The arrest proved that no fantasy, no matter how badly you want it, justifies destroying the people closest to you. Wendy Scheidt's case reveals what separates this heist from bank robberies and Ponzi schemes. The deepest frauds aren't motivated by greed, they're driven by desperation to reclaim what time has taken. She didn't steal money. She stole youth, belonging, and a second chance at a dream. But here's the brutal truth: no identity theft can rewrite the past. Fantasy always collapses under reality's weight, leaving wreckage behind.